Hello everyone and welcome to Keto Living. So today we are going to be making nachos in a new way. So I have a taco salad today and I had some of the meat left over and I thought I would go ahead and make a taco salad. So, not a taco salad, what am I saying? Nachos. And the biggest thing about nachos is the cheese. And cheese sauce is usually made by making a roux with butter and flour and then putting in the cheese and melting it down and everything. We're not going to do that because I can't eat flour. And even though I could use coconut flour, I think it might skew the taste a little bit. So I have a wonderful little recipe here for some cheese. And this can be used on broccoli, it can be used as a dip, it can be used whatever the way you want to. So I am going to put you down here and we're going to get started with it. Okay, so we're going to start with some cheddar cheese. Now a full recipe calls for 2 cups of cheese, grated cheddar cheese. And I did grate this myself and it's better if you use freshly grated cheese. But I'm only making half a recipe, so I'm just using 1 cup, but I will tell you the measurements for a full recipe. So we're just going to dump some cheese into our little pot here. And I'm just putting 1 cup because, like I said, I'm making it half a recipe. But you can use 2 cups for a full recipe. Then we're going to put 2 tablespoons of almond milk. And now you can use regular milk if you want to, but being keto, you know, I can't use regular milk. So we're just going to use 2 tablespoons of almond milk. And that's the same if you're doing half a recipe or a full recipe. And then we're going to add 1/8 of a cup of heavy cream. Now if you're doing a full recipe, you're going to need a whole 1/4 of a cup, but we're only doing half. So we're going to use 1/8 of a cup in there. And then we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of butter. Now you can leave the butter out, but the butter really helps make a richer flavored taste of cheese. Now the next ingredient is optional. If you don't like anything that hot or whatever, don't put it in. But I'm just going to put in a sprinkle of cayenne pepper. I like the kick that it gives, and so I usually add it to my recipes. Now you're going to put this on a stove and you're going to slowly heat it up and melt the cheese. It is very, very, very important that you do not bring this to a boil because it will break and it will not be any good. It'll just be a big pile of oily mess. So you're just going to slowly melt this until it gets to the consistency that you want. And I use a little whisk on the stove to cook it with. So I have my little whisk here. And I'm going to put this on the stove. But we're going to get our nachos ready first before I start that. Because you can't leave that once it gets started. So let's put this away. And then we'll get started with the other part. Now, for my nachos, I am going to chop up a small jalapeno pepper. And remember, the heat lives in the seeds. So if you don't want it really hot, but just a little bit, take out the seeds. And then take out the ribs. I don't like the seeds just because I don't like crunching down on a seed, but I usually leave the ribs in. And I'm just going to slice this up. And then dice them up. And then push them to the side. Then I've already cleaned these, and we're just going to chop up some green onion to put in there. And I'm going to put 2 on there. If you look over here, you'll see I have saved some green tops. And that is to sprinkle on top of everything when I get it all ready. Because you know, your eyes are like windows to the soul. Well, they're like to the stomach too. You want it to be pretty. Okay. So then we're also going to put some salsa on top of it. And then our cheese sauce. And then our meat. Okay, so now we're ready to do our cheese. I have the meat. Whoops, there it is. That was left over, and I put it in the microwave and heated it up a little bit. I'll probably heat it again before we get started. And just in case you're wondering, the meat that I used, the seasoning I used was my own. I prefer to make my own taco seasoning blend because I can control the ingredients in it. I know how many carbs are in it and everything. So I am heating this up on, whoops, and making a mess. I'm heating this up on low because, like I said, you don't want it to boil ever. And while you're heating it up, if you notice it's too thin, you can add more cheese. Or if it gets too thick, you can add a little bit more almond milk or heavy cream. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to completely stir this like this until it gets to the right consistency. And you can tell it doesn't take long to melt down, especially since you have shredded cheese that doesn't have any of that processed stuff on it, cellulose or anything like that. That really does help prevent melting it when you're using prepared cheddar cheese. So doing your own. So we're just going to continue doing this. Remember now, you don't want this to come to a boil. So I'm going to lower the temp even more. And as this cools, it will thicken up as well. Now, this cheese sauce, if you don't use all of it, it can store in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days. And I would not recommend freezing it. But when you heat it, reheat it back up. Just reheat it gently. Put it in a pot and reheat it gently. Do not heat it in the microwave. Reheat it in the microwave because it will boil. And you'll ruin your sauce. Okay, that's all there is to that. So let's go over and make us some nachos. Okay, to start our nachos, we're going to be using the Parmesan crisps for our nachos. And this is a wonderful substitution for them. Now, a serving is 19, and we're not going to use 19. I don't think. We might, but I don't know. Let me show you how I make my nachos. I'm keeping the cheese stirred before it gets too cooled off. So first of all, I'm just going to layer some chips in the bowl. Piece of one in my mouth. Oh, those two stuck together. Okay. Then I'm going to add some of the taco meat on top of that. And these actually hold their crunch a little bit longer than like using pork rinds like I've done before. A little bit of the onion. Oops. A little bit of the salsa. Because I like layering. But I like everything to have, you know, a little bite of everything. And then some of the cheese sauce. I just drizzle it on there with my whisk. And you can see how nice and yummy and thick it's gotten as it rests. Okay. And then we're going to add a few more. Alright. Let's see, make sure I have another serving there. And then we're just going to add the rest of our meat. Now this is not a low-calorie meal. Remember, we're eating keto. So it does have quite a bit of fat in it. Whoops, sorry about that. We're going to put our onions on top and our jalapeno pepper. Now, if you're new to jalapenos or you don't use them a lot, make sure after you touch them with your hands that you don't touch your eyes. That's very important. We're going to add a little bit more salsa. I don't add as much salsa as I do everything else because, you know, salsa does have carbs in it. So I add totally about 2 tablespoons. But just enough to give it some flavor. Then we're going to drizzle some more of our cheese sauce on top. And getting that all over. Doesn't that look yummy? Now the rest of this cheese sauce is going to be saved with for some broccoli and cheese tomorrow. Then I'm going to, where's my spoon? There it is. I have things falling everywhere. I'm going to add a tablespoon of sour cream right on top because, you know, we like sour cream. And then sprinkle it with our green onion tops, just for some color. Voila. And you have the perfect keto bowl of nachos. And they are absolutely yummy. So let me put the camera back up here and we'll give it a taste test. Okay, so we got a chip, we got some of the cheese, the salsa, sour cream. Yummy. And you can still hear the crunch of the chips. And the Parmesan cheese crisps, and I like that. Awesome. Well, that is good, and I can't wait to go eat this bowl of nachos. So, I hope you will give it a try. Very simple recipe. Just remember, cheese sauce, full recipe. 2 cups of shredded cheddar. 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. 2 tablespoons of almond milk or additional heavy cream. But I like the way the almond milk kind of thins it out a little bit more. And tablespoon of butter. An optional teaspoon or less of cayenne pepper. It really does give it that twang. Toppings on top, spring onions, you can use jalapenos, you can use avocado, anything that's keto friendly can go on top of your nachos, and of course the taco meat. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you will give this recipe a try, and I hope you'll come back next week. And if you're new to my channel, today is your first day visiting, I welcome you. Usually I can speak better than this. I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos, and you can ensure that by making sure you tap the bell when it pops up. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I will see you all again next week. Bye.